Hi guys, welcome back to part 2. Let's jump right into this. So let's jump right into making the muzzle, just so he starts to look like a real cat. This is how my neck turned out, not bad. So we're going to start with a magic ring. And you're going to put 6 single crochets in this magic ring. Next round is going to be 2 single crochets in each stitch. So remember, after the first one goes in your stitch marker. Your next round is going to be 1 single crochet increase. Number 1. And your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And repeat. Next 2 rounds, you should have 18 stitches. The next 2 rounds, you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 18 stitches. So this is what it should look like. We're not done. So, not quite the size I needed it. So I added 1 more row of 2 single crochets increase. Number 1. 2 single crochets and then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. So this gives you a total of 24 stitches. And then I fastened off. So you can just go into your next stitch and fasten off. You're going to need a sewing tail. Go into your next stitch and pull this through. And then pull up. Makes it a lot better for sewing. So, let's take care of this middle guy here. Pull him tight. And then make a knot. Push that knot all the way down. And we can cut him off a little bit. We are putting stuffing underneath this nose. But we'll first attach a nose. And a mouth. So, I've got noses in this thing. That's what I used last time for her nose. I think I'll use it again. Actually, maybe I'll use that for her nose. No, that looks more like a bear nose than a cat nose. Yeah, I'll just use the same one I did before. So, turn this until you find that hole that's right above your magic ring. You don't want to put this in the magic ring. You want it just above, because we're going to use the magic ring to make his mouth. So you need to find the hole that's just above the magic ring. Ah, there we go. So get your nose on, and then we'll just take a little bit of black. You don't need a whole pile of black, so I just got a little bit. You don't really need to tie a knot on the other end, but if this is going to a child or something, I would tie a knot just so they can't pull it out. Mine is going to a grown-up, so I don't really have to, but why the heck not? It only takes a couple of seconds. I just tied a double knot. So, because we put that in just over the magic ring, we're going to use the magic ring to come through. Straighten my nose out. We're going to use the magic ring. We're going to come through the magic ring from the back. You're going to go down this way, find however far down you want to go, and then you're going to pop out wherever you want the smile of the mouth to be. Or even maybe not even a smile. So then that happens. So now from here you can come back and go down the same hole and pop out, preferably in the same spot roughly that your other side is. So you gotta just try to make it even. So when you pull, oops, how'd that happen? Let's get him on the other side. So when you pull, it makes that one side of the mouth, and now you can just come back down to the middle and make the other side of the mouth. Just like that. So you can tie a knot or just cut him off. Does not matter. And then we're going to sew it. Straggler in there. Sew it to the face of your cat. So we're going to put stuffing under this. But I would first, if I were you, start sewing it on. So how I did it is I have it up close to the eyes, and it literally comes all the way down. So it's got to be as close to the eyes as possible. And then I just did invisible stitches. So I go in and I grab some yarn. You don't need to grab a crap ton of yarn. You just need to grab 1 or 2 pieces of yarn. And then when you pull up and out, it sucks that stitch down underneath it, so you're not gonna see it. So you can go halfway around or whatever, and then put some stuffing into it. Gives you a better idea of yeah. See, mine's not going so well. I gotta pull that back out. Mine's going on a little crooked. I am not a good sewer. Just saying. Not a good sewer at all. I may use some pins so I don't make that mistake again. Should have used a pin in the first place. I think when I pulled the tail, I moved it. So I am hitting every stitch, by the way. I'm not skipping stitches. I'm hitting every single one of them. Alright, I'm going to put my stuffing in it. It doesn't take a whole lot, but just make sure you pack it down. That way you know that it's fully stuffed, if you know what I mean. So when you're done, you can just weave. So when you weave, go in as close as you can to this guy, so it just looks like a stitch. And then just wherever you pop out. 3 different directions. Here we go. Starting to look a little more like a cat. So we can do whiskers after. Let's do the ears. The tail is going to be the absolute longest of this whole project. So the ears are pretty quick as well, because they're pretty pointy, pretty straight. So this time you're going to put 4 single crochets inside this magic ring. So now you're going to do 1 single crochet and an increase. You only have 4 stitches, so you're just going to do that twice. You don't really need to try to squish a marker in here. That's 1 single crochet and then an increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. 1 single crochet. Last stitch gets 2 single crochets. So, if you could try to turn it right side in, that would be more helpful. Your next round is going to be 2 single crochets and an increase. You can put a marker in. You only are working with 6 stitches, so it doesn't really matter, but you're going to do it twice. That's 2 single crochets. And then your increase of 2 single crochets in the same space. And then repeat. Next round is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. So this will bring you to 10 stitches. That's number 1. Three single crochets and an increase and repeat. So it's got a little bit of a point on top of it. Your next round is going to be 4 single crochets and an increase. Next round's 5 single crochets and an increase. Next round is going to be 6 single crochets and an increase, and then you're going to do this will give you 16 stitches, and then you're going to do 2 rows of 1 single crochet in each of those 16 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So that's what you should have when you're done. So you can just fasten off. We're going to put a little tiny bit of stuffing in this, but not much. So you need a sewing tail. We're not sewing this shut. We're going to sew it on open, just because I think it looks better. You can do whatever you want. I shouldn't say we're not going to. I'm not going to. You can do whatever your little heart desires, obviously. So anyway, go ahead and make your second one, and I'll meet you back here. I'm going to sew one of mine on already, and then I'll meet you back here for the other one. So I've decided you're probably not going to see much, but I only put like the smallest amount of stuffing in here. I guess not the smallest amount, I could go smaller. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this off camera. See, I would need this up like this to sew it, and it's like literally right up against the camera, but anyway. You guys are not here to learn how to sew. You're here to learn how to make a cat, but I don't sew well anyway, so taking instructions off of me, but that's how I'm gonna put mine on. If that helps. I don't know. Anyway, I did put stuffing in it. Alright, so I got both my ears sewn on. That's what it looks like. So, let's do the back legs, then we can get this tail done. That's the longest part of this will be the tail. Whether you do it my way or just a regular tail, it'll take a bit. So, the back feet are just these tiny little feet. They are just meant to get sewn to the bum part. This should act as a haunch type of thing, so this is just going to get sewn in on a diagonal to the bum part of the cat. So that's what we're doing there. In case you're wondering why this is white, my cat has white on its chest. Russian blues don't normally have white on their chest. Mine does, so that's why that's there. But I didn't put it in this other one because this is a regular Russian blue without any other colors on him. So, and I did it in a completely different gray because my Russian blue he's a lighter gray. I don't know if I think he's a bit bigger than my sister's cat, but my sister's cat's a darker gray and a smaller. So I'm doing this all based on I'm giving that to my sister. So anyway, the back feet, magic ring and 6 single crochets to start, or you can chain 2 and put 6 single crochets in that chain 2 space, or in the first stitch. So you're going to do 2 single crochets in each of these 6 stitches. That's my 12. So for the next 4 rows, I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of these 12 stitches, and I will see you on the other side. So this is my 4 rows done. I'm going to fasten off with a sewing tail. Stick that inside. You're stuffing this. So go into your next stitch, pull this through. Up and out. Put a little bit of stuffing in here, and then we're going to sew it to the body. Go ahead and make your other one, and I will meet you right back here. Okie dokie, I've got both mine done. Let's get some of these sewed on. So, you're going to definitely want to pin these. So it's up to you how you want them sewn on, but I would make sure your cat is sitting when you pin it, so that you know where to put the leg. So you can put them in here. It's just going to be hard to sew on with the arm. But I think for the most part, his leg should be sitting out. Do you know what I mean? Like that. So, I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on the 6th row on the bottom of my leg, if that helps in your placement. And again, I'm just going to do invisible stitches. So you don't need a whole lot of yarn. I just grab a piece. So go ahead and sew your second one on. And I will meet you after, and we can get this tail done, because it's gonna take a bit. It's more awkward really than anything, but we have a lot of rows to get through. We've got 48 rows to do for the tail. So I will meet you on the other side. So this is what you should have at this point. I'm so glad I moved the legs. It looks way, way better. So this tail is going to take some time. And I need to move my stuff out of the way. So we need to change hooks for this to a 4mm or a G. Show that again without it being blurry. There we go. 4mm or a G hook. The way I did this tail was directly on to the cat. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just make your own tail. But I also used pipe cleaner. Doesn't matter what color you use. But I'm pretty sure I got 4 of them in there. So I just twisted all these because I've got pipe cleaners like They're good, but they're not great. So I like to twist pipe cleaners together to kind of make them more bendy. Do you know what I mean? So you can make your tail if you don't want to do it my way, which is really awkward. You can make your tail and then just stick this in it. But you'll have to sew. You'll have to put a couple of stitches in around this. When I do my tail, I build it off the cat. And every once in a while I just use my hook and I go in and I grab a piece. Every once in a while, just at the beginning. And then I don't bother the rest of the way up. So that's how I'm going to do mine. Like I said, it's not an easy process, but it looks much better than having to sew it on. So just make a slip knot. I'm probably gonna have to raise my camera, but you're gonna need to make 13 stitches. I told you this is not an easy process, but the appearance is fantastic after. And I didn't go to the trouble of doing his arms like this to have this look like crap. So that's why I've decided I'm doing it. So you're just going around a post. I'm not sure why it's so difficult for me to not get snagged on something. That's 5 across, and now I'm just going to start going up diagonally. This is my 13th stitch. And I'm going to be able to get one more in there. Unfortunately, I'm going to have not the right numbers, but you know what? Who cares? It's just a tail. It'll all still look like a tail. I just want to make sure that's an okay shape. Seems to be fine. So, once you come back around, you can go into the first stitch you made and slip stitch. Now, we're not slip stitching or chaining from this point. But just because you just made a slip stitch, we're going to chain 1. And for 6 rows, you're just going to go around. Now I'm going to have 13 stitches. You're going to have 12 if you did it right. You're just going to go 1 in each stitch for the next 6 rows. Don't worry about the pipe cleaners right yet. So when you come back around to your mark, you're just going to keep going. You're not going to slip stitch and chain 1 anymore. You're just going to keep going. So I'm going to get my row marker out. I'm going to do my 6 rows, well 5 now. Already did 1. And I will see you on the other side. Alright, so this is my 6 rows. I'm going to take this off for a minute. So when we're going to start putting, we're going to put the pipe cleaner in here. But first of all, I kind of want you to take some scissors and right in the middle, just kind of open a space so that you can kind of stick this. So make it pointy at the end. You're going to kind of just squeeze and push that into his butt a little bit. Just makes things a little bit sturdier. It is not an easy process to get started, but it works out really, really well at the end of the day. So once you get your pipe cleaner in that hole a bit, then you can, just for the base, put some stuffing. We're not putting stuffing in this tail. We're just putting it down at the bottom here. Just for stability. So push it all the way down to the bottom on all the sides. So you want this pipe cleaner kind of in the middle of everything. So I'm just going to take my hook and I'm going to use the end of it to do this. It's easier for me. So the only part of the tail you really need to bend is the rest of it. This can stay like it is, and that's why I'm putting the stuffing in it, because I mean all cats' tails come out from the bottom and don't bend right away. Alrighty, so I almost buried my loopy loopies. So this is going to be hard to show you now that I've got this thing going here. So after your 6 rounds, your next round is going to be 4 single crochet decrease. So when we go in, I'm going to put my first stitch in with my marker. I'm not going to grab the pipe cleaner yet. I just want to get my first stitch in there. Put your marker in. So hopefully you can see this okay. When I go in, I'm going to grab, I twisted this so tight. I'm going to grab a little bit of the pipe cleaner. No, I'm not. I'll have to do it up further. So 4 single crochets. That's my 4 single crochets. Just make sure this stands up straight, and then your decrease. So if you have a tabletop, it makes life a lot easier to set this on. And then again, 4 single crochets and a decrease. So now that we've decreased, we're going to do 4 rows of just 1 single crochet in each stitch. And again, try to go in and grab some of the pipe cleaner. Now if you can't or you don't want to because it's awkward, then we can just get it later with a piece of thread. It's no big deal. As long as you secure it somehow after. I generally just like to do it before, so generally I come in and grab. I did it so tight. I'm gonna have to grab up here. As long as you grab somewhere, I'm gonna have to grab up here where it's not so tight. Anyway, 4 rows of 1 single crochet in each stitch, and I will see you on the other side. And we're gonna decrease again. So remember, no more stuffing. goes in this. It's just what's going to be at the base of this tail. So I'm all done my 4 rows. I had 10 stitches, by the way. Your next round is going to take you down to 8 stitches, and then that's as far as we're going until we get closer to the top. Now I was able to grab a hold of some of my pipe cleaner and get it in that last stitch, so I did this side, and now I want to come around and grab the other side. So as long as you're doing 2 sides across from each other, you should be okay, and you should only have to grab it once. You don't have to grab it multiple times. That should just keep it in the middle now instead of moving around. I am, however, going to move my stuffing up a little bit. Wiggle your stuffing around because you don't want it to look bulky here and then skinny here, so you just need to kind of move it around, shift your stuffing now that you've got it built up, but try not to pull your pipe cleaner out of that hole. That's number 1. That's 3 single crochets. And then your decrease. So this will fit nicely around your 4 pipe cleaners. I may or may not get my other one in. If you don't get your full sequence in, it's no big deal. It's just a tail. It's not going to make a huge difference. I can't. I'm just going to do another decrease here. And then that's it. So for the next 25 rows, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of these stitches for 25 rows. So this is where it gets to be a long process. Now I have this to use for my marker, even though it kind of moves a little bit. It'll move because we're working in a spiral. But I have 8 stitches, so every time I count 8, I'm just going to, well, every time I count 16 or 24, I'm going to hit my marker. So that's how I'm going to do mine. But it's 1 single crochet in each stitch. You should have 8 stitches, and I will for 25 rows, and I'll see you on the other side. Now keep in mind, this does bend, so you can bend it to do what you want it to do. And if you want to put stuffing down here, you can. It's not completely against any rules or anything. I'm just going to try to spread mine out a little bit. It's a little too bulky down here. So this is my 25 rows. So I cut these because I don't think the tail needs to be any longer. I have to use industrial scissors though. So we still have a decrease to do just to keep for the point on the top, and then we're going to sew it. So you can leave a little bit showing, but that little bit that's going to be showing, you need to wrap with electrical tape because it can be pretty pointy and prickly, and you don't want anybody getting pricked by something sharp. So I would just use electrical tape around the top. So I told you it was a process. Anyway, I'm going to push my tail back up. So I moved my stuffing around a little bit down here. But anyway, his tail bends just like the other one. And that's kind of what you want, is the tail to be able to just bend at will, different directions. So I think I put too much stuffing. I still got to play with my stuffing down here and move it around. Your last round is just going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. And I know you're probably going, what in the heck do we need to do a decrease for? Sorry, you're probably going, what in the heck do we need to do a decrease for? Because cats have pointy tails. So you're only going to do it twice. That's 2 single crochets and a decrease. That's once. One more time. Very awkward. And a decrease. And now we're done. So I want you to go into the next stitch and fasten off. So you only need enough yarn to sew the top closed, which isn't much, and then weave. So we're gonna get our needle threaded. So kind of push your tail. If you do this, you'll gain a little bit of space. So you can just cinch it if you want. So you can just go under one piece in and out. But I mean, I don't really see the point. For my other one, I just sewed across the top, but oops, sorry. You can cinch it. So when you pull up, you get that point. And then I'm just going to come across and make a knot to secure that cinch. Nobody will see it. And then you weave, just like you do with everything else. So when you pull down, it's going to pull down on the top, and you won't even be able to tell you did anything up there. And that is our tail. And that is also the end of our project. So you don't really need to weave far. So hopefully you followed along with me with your tail, and you got a tail that you can play with. So this guy needs to just get tucked away. So just go in as close as you can to the tail, and I would just pop out the other side and pull, and that'll bring all that right down into place. And then you can just weave wherever, cut him off. Anywhere that you've pulled tight, you can just pop back out with your needle. There we go. So now we can do whatever we want with our tail. Sometimes my cat sits like this, but I can't get that to do that unless I hook it into his leg. But sometimes my cat sits there with his tail wrapped around him. So I just gotta move my stuffing up, and then I'll be satisfied. And that's just time consuming. I'm not going to do on camera, but wiggle my stuffing up a little bit so his tail sits up better. So now that we've got that done, the last thing we need to do is whiskers. This is pretty fast, easy peasy. This needs some yarn. You need 3 of the same size, so I guess I didn't need to cut all that. You just need 3 of the same size. I'm just going to put it just on the end of your, you don't need to thread it too far. And then you're going to go in, start with at the top, just make sure it's even. And then pull him through. Now if you keep it pretty short, you're not going to have to, these won't sag or anything. They'll kind of always just kind of stand up. So do the other one just below it. that. And then pull. And the third one. Just below that. There we go. There, it's Whiskers. Now we're done. All done. So, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. So, I didn't like my tail the way I had done it. So, I know this video's over, but... So, I'll tell you what I did. I took all the stuffing out of here. I just took my needle, pulled it out, pulled all the stuffing out. And then I just... pull my bum out a little bit from sewing. I just took a piece of yarn, made a slip knot on one end, this on the other, and I just sewed the tail down like that, and then I curled the tail around. So, didn't really like, and I made sure I went in and out of the pipe cleaner, like around the pipe cleaner when I did it. Yeah, did not like that tail at all. This was my other tail. It turned out perfectly fine, so I'm not sure why the other one didn't, but anyway. And that is that. That's what I did, so that's gonna be like a blooper reel or something. Anyway.